Wow, here we go. 8,000 of our best friends. It's time to get going with Ellucian eLive 2015. And I'm glad to see everyone made it this morning after surviving the streets of New Orleans. I am so thrilled to be with you today to talk about something that I call the intersection of higher education and high technology. I am so thrilled that you're here with us. We have so many cool things to show you this week. We really need to stay here for about 2 or 3 weeks to show you everything that we've been working on. But today, I really want to talk about you and the community that you represent and the amazing miracles that you pull off every day. As Jack said, it really is about student success. I got the opportunity to join the company last fall. My journey with Ellucian began by meeting with the board members, and over again, I heard a common recurring theme. And then I joined the company, and as I met the leadership team and the employees, there was a common recurring theme. And over the last 7 months, as I've had an opportunity to visit with you around the world, I've heard a common recurring theme. And that is this singular obsession with delivering student success. Why is this so important? Well, you know the facts better than I do. Today's college graduates give back to the community much more than anyone else. They're active in politics, they're generous with their time and their money, and over the course of their lifetime, they'll earn about 70% more than their peers who failed to graduate. For us, for you, this is a huge emotional paycheck, the impact you have on people's lives and on society at large. And for us, as Jack said, it goes beyond the emotional paycheck. It's also a moral responsibility, and I see that in the lives and the actions and the obsession that our employees have as they work with you. I've heard this one recurring theme, though. It's never been more challenging. Things are changing. And the standards and the norms that we were comfortable with for the last 20 years somehow don't seem to fit the realities of today's learners. I think the best way to share this with you is through the lives of 3 people, ordinary people, attempting to finish their education. Let's roll the video.
Working full-time and with a family, I can't just quit work and go to school full-time.
I got out of the military and I couldn't really use any of my military background towards a job. 4 years in college, I can't afford that.
They require a bachelor's degree, even though I am sitting literally right next to a man or woman who's a civilian doing the exact same job I'm doing, and I'm not qualified anymore.
Too few Americans are earning degrees. Instead of boosting income, they are losing ground. But ignoring adult students only pushes the problem down the road.
We're not educating the non-traditional students who don't come from parents with checkbooks and bank accounts that go to college full-time and graduate in 4 or 5 years.
It is the crisis we can no longer ignore.
Wow, very powerful to hear it in their own words. That Courageous Learning video is something that you helped us produce last year. It's very powerful, and it really resonates. You may think of these as extreme cases, but they really aren't. What has changed? It's a different student base. Non-traditional students used to make up the minority on school campuses. Now, this year, 29% of the students on your campus are the traditional 18 to 21-year-olds enrolling right after completing secondary school. They're now the minority, only 29%. And distance learning has disrupted the relationship between the educator and the student. In 2012, almost 6 million students took some form of distance learning or e-learning class. And about 2.6 million students only got their learning through distance learning. It's a different budget. The financials are profoundly different. 27% of you said that tuition is decreasing, and yet the costs of running your institutions continue to go up. Average state spending is down 23% since the recession. It's never really recovered. And the staggering student debt is on front page every day, $1.2 trillion and climbing. It's a different market. For the first time, you're finding yourself battling for enrollment. Enrollment is down nearly 500,000 when you look at the 2012 and 2013 school year in the United States. You're now competing on a global stage for the best talent and the best students, and they have choices and options in where they choose to make their commitment to schools of higher education. U.S. students are also looking for a new global experience, and more, they're choosing to opt out of the U.S. system and go offshore for that global experience. So, any way you cut it, it's a different world. It's a new age of learning for us, and it means the demands on you have never been greater. And I've heard it from you clearly since I joined the company. Now, you can't get away from this. I just saw this in the magazine shop 2 weeks ago. This was the cover of The Economist, and it was in bookstores around the world. And it said, in a positive way, the whole world is going to university. But then it made a very provocative statement underneath that. Is it worth it? Well, it is worth it, indeed. The good news is, on a global scale, that enrollment is increasing. Almost 32% of developed countries' populations enroll in university. If you look at the OECD countries, they are now spending 1.6% of their GDP on higher education. That's up from 1.3% just 15 years ago. China is the massive disruptor. China now produces more graduates than India and the United States combined. And China has made a commitment to its citizens that by 2020, 40% of the students will be enrolled. That's a massive commitment and a huge disruptor. So we know that education is worth it, and we at Ellucian believe that student success is core to all we do. It guides us, it unites us, and it binds us. We also believe that to have student success, you must have an amazing and personal student experience. It's attracting the students to your institution. It's making sure that you help them through the journey to success, and then it's keeping them in the family post-graduation as active, giving, generous alumni. We believe that our role is to deliver brilliant technology and solutions to help you achieve that. So technology really does offer new paths, and we really are living in a time of unprecedented innovation, but it can really be overwhelming. How do you figure out what is sustainable and real and helpful, and how do you make sure that you don't fall in love with the next new, bright, shiny object? I remember once years ago asking Steve Wozniak when I first met him, how was it that you were able to do something unique at Apple? What was it that you did that was true then and you believe it's still true to this very day? And he said, our job was to bend technology to serve the will of people. It was true with that very first Apple computer, and it's true to this very day. We also share that belief. Our job for you is to bend technology to serve the will of you and your students.